All right, you guys, here we have the $550 build that I think turned out absolutely amazing in the Lian Li A3 case, coming right in at $73. I don't think this case could look any better, and then this whole build just looks absolutely immaculate. So I hope you guys like the whole build video, and let's get right into it.
Alright guys, so to start out this build, we're going to be doing a voiceover and we're pulling apart the case here, and this front panel, actually you have a bracket for two 120mm fans, which is super cool. Now we're checking out the back here. To start out, we have this really awesome MSI B550 motherboard. This is Wi-Fi included. So that's a score right there, you guys. When I'm shopping for a lot of motherboards, of course, like Amazon reviews, I really look into and all the specs of the motherboard. But I really love MSI. I haven't had issues, and I think like the last 20 builds I've done with them. So let's check out all the pins on this CPU real quick. And we're actually going to find out something pretty crazy here in a moment. So you guys keep a close eye on the CPU. Um, and you'll see here in a second what happens. It's pretty wild. So let's get that zoom on the corner so we know to match up that corner with the same arrow on the motherboard, and let's slap this puppy in here. So as we set it down nice and softly, at first I actually didn't realize it was raised, so I go to shut the lever and I notice a little bit of resistance, so I immediately stop. I try to wiggle the CPU, and here's a short clip showing a barely bent pin in the corner right there. You can barely see in that slow-mo, but essentially I did take a knife. I wish I would have recorded it, but I took a knife and I straightened out the pin and it worked out perfectly. Very sketchy to do though. Okay, so now that we have the CPU installed correctly, that was a bit nerve-wracking. I usually never have a CPU show up with vent pins, but it just might have had a super rough shipping. We're gonna open up this Vulcan RAM. We got 16 gigabytes of T-Force for this build. Pretty stoked, and the RAM sticks looks decent. They definitely look decent for the price point. Get those nice clicks in there. Oh yeah. And we got our boy here, Tengen Uzui, holding our 1 TB SSD from Kingston. You guys don't forget that peel. I wanted to get a unique angle of myself installing this SSD, so I tried to do it from this angle, but I feel like it did not turn out very well. The grain on this image too is just so bad. But let's go ahead and screw this bad boy in. And these screws, for some reason, are always very hard for me, so I really like to hold down the motherboard to loosen up these screws. You definitely need to turn them quite hard, and make sure you don't strip them either, so make sure you're using the right size head on your screwdriver. And yeah, as we do this part, we're going to leave the motherboard on the box so that the back plate doesn't fall off, and we're going to install the stock cooler. I usually don't run a stock cooler on mini builds, but this is just a Ryzen 5 3600, so it's going to cool it fine. And then partway installing it, I noticed it was a little wonky. And I used their pre-installed thermal paste, but they left a huge dead spot, so I put a pretty big glob here just to be safe, and we're going to slap this puppy back on. But yeah, I wasn't sure if maybe the plate was just bent a little bit, because the first time I had slapped this cooler on all the way, and then I just decided to take it off because it looked a little weird, and then I saw that dead spot. So now on the second install, everything went super smooth, and let's go ahead and take off this front bracket. I had tons of fun building in this Lian Li A3 case, you guys. The fact that this is a micro ATX at like 80 bucks from Lian Li is just absolutely beautiful. And then also, you guys, ignore that dog hair on the bottom of the PC. Ignore all that dog hair. A lot of people tend to forget the little panel on the back of the motherboard. I'm blanking on the name right now, but yeah, this little thing right here. And be careful, because it can actually, those sharp little bendy pins can cut you. So yeah, be careful when installing that. But you'll slap it in the back of the case, and the motherboard should line up right with it. Um, Also ignore those crumbs you see on my hat. I don't know what those were, but let's get back into it. Here's the little box that Lian Li gives us. And what I like to do, especially with boxes like these full of screws, is I like to organize them. Um, so I'll take out all the screws I need for one part of the build and just separate them into into a separate little box in here. So yeah, we're gonna set that to the side. I'm gonna show you what screws we need, and then I'm gonna start separating them. And then during this part of the build, uh, I'd like to also just kind of hype up MSI a lot more because, again, I've built with their motherboard so many times and I've never had any issues. Um, so huge shout out to them. And then we're using a Thermaltake 500 watt power supply. This had really good reviews on Amazon, and I think we got it for $40. It is a fully modular power supply, but this case doesn't have a glass panel, so I wasn't super worried about that. But as you see later on, we actually do some pretty awesome cable management with this power supply. Um, yeah, I believe 5-star reviews pretty much on Amazon. Thermaltake is a pretty reputable brand. Um, But the tricky part of this build actually is right here. The mounting bracket for the power supply definitely got a bit confusing for me. And after watching a couple videos on YouTube with people build with this power supply, they had actually orientated it different with the fan on the inside of the case. Now I'm pretty sure this is an intake fan, or I'm pretty sure this is a blower fan, so it's blowing air out of the power supply. Um, so I wanted to orientate it in the front so we're not blowing hot air into the case, especially right towards that stock cooler on that CPU. I just feel like in my scenario, just with like the stock cooler, I didn't want to blow any more hot air into the case than we needed to, especially running not too many fans in here. Um, So yeah, you guys, the rest of this build goes pretty smooth. I hope you're enjoying it so far.
I don't know how to do it.
That was my girlfriend in the background right there. That is pretty funny that I got that audio. It's really hard to do building when, you know, your household is pretty poppin'. But I'm out here making quality content for you guys. And then as you can also see, that is an extension for the plug-in for where you're gonna put your power, like plug-in for your PC to the power supply. It was a little wonky since I think we have it on the opposite side as everyone else who runs the fan on the inside of the case for the power supply, but it's whatever. Then I decided to use rubber stoppies on this case because this build was actually for a good buddy of mine, and I just wanted to keep it as immaculate and clean as possible because as you can see right here, just this Lian Li case is just so dang beautiful. I love the little back plate they have on it and everything's just pretty sweet. Now I had one of these Johnsville FR 505 exhaust fans sitting around, so I decided to hook them up and just give them this for free. I'd actually put a piece of plastic over the infinity mirror because I think Johnsville actually sent me it without that piece of plastic on there. And you guys, if you are using fans with infinity mirrors, be super careful because scratching that mirror is super easy. Like it'll very, very easily scratch. Now we have our audio and our front panel. Going with the front panel first, I guess, unless I missed the clip for the audio. Um, we'll line up the pins, plug that in on the right side of the case. Get our JUSB. Wow, it took me a minute to find this. And get in there. I have seen some cringe videos where people will actually unplug these ports and rip out the whole entire port off the motherboard. So yeah, you guys, be careful if one of these plugins have been plugged in for a long time, not to just rip it off the motherboard. And then right here, we're gonna zip tie up all these cables for the power supply. I'm pretty sure I fast forward through this any second here. And as you can see, I didn't stress too hard about perfectly lining up all the cables straight, because in the end, these zip ties really just make the inside of the case a lot more roomy, and I wasn't trying to do it to make it look like 100% perfect. Ooh, and that was a pretty good snap there, I feel like. And let's cut all these zip ties off. Woo, there we go. Now the build's looking decent. I will point out one thing. I'm not sure if any of you guys have noticed, but I actually have an exhaust fan on the bottom. I didn't realize I'd put it in as an exhaust. So here in a second, for all you perfect ponies out there, we're going to be flipping that exhaust to intake. We got our motherboard plugged in. I feel like this is a beautiful clip of this ASRock RX 6600. Beautiful, beautiful GPU for the price point. I believe around 250, I think is what we got it for. That heatsink is huge. I love the copper tubes and the heatsink. It just looks so nice how it's exposed and everything. We get a nice slick peel on this bad boy. Woo! And yeah, even this thing vertical mounted would look super cool, maybe in like a black height Y40. I honestly don't think that case is that bad coming with a for like $110 and you get a pre-included vertical GPU mount. But we're gonna click in this GPU. This was actually the one recording I got of me clipping it in, and then I will flip that fan beneath it here in any moment here. It's gonna be flipped to intake. Now, talking more about this build, I was just super impressed. We got all these high quality components and made it look this good for 550 bucks, you guys. So it is October 1st, I believe, when I'm editing this video. And I'd done this build, I believe, over a month ago. So before the start of September, I believe, is when I finished this build. So those prices were at that time, but I think you can still do the build probably for cheaper. You could probably get this done for 500 bucks, especially since Ryzen CPUs have dropped. So it's an even better time to get this build. Pretty sure the case should be the same price though. Now let's plug in all of our fans to our RGB headers and system fan headers. And then as you can see right below the graphics card, we have flipped that fan to intake, throw back on the panels, which are super nice that the side ones just pop in. No screws needed. All right, you guys, that thing is looking beautiful. So now we're gonna actually head over to the customer's house. Don't mind the kitchen setup, you know, he's rocking a $550 PC. So what can you expect, you guys? Yeah, don't mind us, we're talking shit right there. But yeah, here's the PC next to a cup, and let's get straight into the gaming, you guys. I love finals. Honestly, I'm super bummed this game fell off because I'm a big fan of games with a ton of movement and that are super fast paced. And this game does not lack in any department for the amount of, you know, different characters you can play, different special abilities you can have. It's just, I love how fast paced this game is. And the amount of teamwork needed too is actually quite a bit. So if you want a good game to play with your buddies that's just insane, like right now, holy shit, this whole map is just going crazy. So our frames did drop a bit right there. And oh yeah, I almost turned on this guy. I should have probably scoped in a little bit more. Kind of juked him out right there. Yeah, ignore the aim. Let's load right into Cyberpunk. We are moving fast, you guys. So I do have ray tracing on, and we are on ultra settings. So we're getting a solid 60 FPS, you guys. So this is I think the first mission in Cyberpunk. I've actually never played it. So yeah, we have high and ultra on the settings. And yeah, we're just vibing here. Just straight vibing.
Let's keep looking.
I really want to get like Cyberpunk. I think it's called Dreampunk 2.0 for this game. I really want to test this game with like realistic graphics mods and show that a benchmark for you guys, because I feel like when a lot of people run this game, they're just doing like no mods included, and I want to personally know how maybe one of my best PCs could run this game while it's has crazy realistic mods. But yeah, we're holding a solid 60 FPS through all this battling, which is pretty dang cool. Alright, I'll let you guys enjoy the gameplay. I think we did get a small stutter right there. Yeah, we shredded that guy too. Damn.
Shit, where the hell's our target?
Look around. Gotta be there somewhere.
Alright, now on to Call of Duty Warzone. I feel like a lot of people still play this game personally. I'm not the biggest fan, but let's get right into it. I believe our graphics, we were running like see, like medium settings, I believe, balance settings. I know this game is pretty hard to run, and I believe it is CPU bound mainly. But it looks like it's using the GPU and CPU pretty evenly. Maybe a bit more GPU up in the corner. But our temps are looking great. And oh yeah, let's go. That was I haven't hopped on this game in forever, so I was super hyped on that kill right there. This was pretty fresh too. Boom, look at that tracking right there. Caught that guy out of the corner of my eye. Teammate finished him off, or someone finished him off. And then I died, and then I quit, because Call of Duty, yeah, it's Call of Duty. Now we're on to Overwatch. Honestly, this is another super fun game that I feel like is not as popular anymore. And during these benchmark games, I actually had a ton of fun playing it. I'm not good at all with Hamster, but also wanted to show you guys another like high FPS kind of shooter that had a lot of stuff going on. I don't know if any of you guys play competitive games that are like this or similar to this. And then let me know in the comments if you guys want to see any more games. I would love to show and play just tons of other games, because I am a gamer at heart, and this is pretty fun for me doing these build videos with these benchmark tests. To end off the video, guys, we have some pretty dark shots of this full build. I'll be listing probably the prices on everything right here and any other information you guys want to know. I hope you guys all have a great day.